Gabit Musrepov is one of the most prominent representatives of the Kazakh literature of the 20th century. Many of his works are included into the golden font of our classic literature. They are relevant in any era and at any time. The first time I was introduced to the works of this writer was at school. His works are dear to my heart because in his writings he glorified the image of a mother. He has written dozens of writings on this theme: stories, short stories, and a novella, Ulpan. Makhpal Musa is a poet, member of the Union of Writers and Journalists of Kazakhstan. She is the winner of Zhensegurov and Makhataev Republican contests. Apart from this, she won the first prize of the Republican Altyn Tobulghi contest, organized by the Foundation of Kazakhstan's first president. Also, Makhpal is a winner of 100 New Faces of Kazakhstan project. Writer's whole life was filled with creativity. During the Great Patriotic War, he wrote a novella called Kazakh Batyr, later the novel A Soldier from Kazakhstan. His writing, The Land Awakened, has become one of the most significant in his life and has raised the author to an unprecedented height. Not only Gabit Mahmutoglu was writing novels, novellas, and stories, he was also working in other genres. He is an author of the dozens of essays. In 1968, a selection of his stories and novellas called Once and Forever was published, for which Musrepov was awarded the State Prize of the Kazakh SSR. Also, he was awarded the Shokan Valekhanov's Prize of the Academy of Sciences of the Kazakh SSR. 25 years later, the sequel to his The Land Awakened, called In the Hands of the Enemy, was published. Gabit Musrepov was a writer, playwright, critic, and honored state and public figure. He was born on the 22nd of March, 1902, in Zhanazhol village, Zhambyl district, North Kazakhstan region. The name he was given at birth was Gabdea al-Gabit. In 1926, he studied at the working faculty in Orenburg and then at the Omsk Agricultural Institute. He worked as a teacher at the Burabai College. That was when he has written his first work, the story Yedige. For 10 years, Musrepov has been working as an editor for various publications in party bodies and other different institutions. His works, including early notes, were translated into 34 languages. Musrepov was famous as a talented playwright who significantly contributed to the development of this genre. He's an author of many plays and scripts. Gabit Mahmutovich and Beimbet Malyan together wrote the script of the first Kazakh film, Amangilda. Gabit Musrepov was awarded 3 Orders of Lenin, 2 Orders of the Red Banner of Labor, and many other medals. In 2002, the 100th anniversary of the writer was celebrated by UNESCO. Now in the city of Almaty, there are a theater and a street that bear the name of the writer. Gabit Musrepov tried himself as a playwright in the 30s. His first drama work was a libretto written by him for the Jibek opera that was staged at a Kazakh State Academic Opera and Ballet Theater. He also wrote the Kozy Bayan Sulu poem that was based on the folk epos. Gabit Musrepov is the author of literary, critical, and journalistic works, many of which were included in The Duty of the Artist and Epoch and Literature collections. In 1937, risking his freedom and even his own life, Gabit Musrepov defended his friend Beimbet Malyan, who was accused of nationalism. Musrepov also defended Sakensi Fulyan, trying to save him from prison. The so-called letter of five, written by prominent Kazakh cultural figures, among whom was Musrepov, occupies a special place in the history of Kazakhstan. It was a symbol of courage. Gabit Musrepov's name was well respected. His name itself has a deep meaning to it, a rich essence. It's unnecessary to praise Gabit Musrepov. He's not supposed to be praised. He's supposed to be proud of. He was a prominent man who always dressed with care, considering his looks. There is an interesting fact. In the 50s, a film starring the French actor Jean Gabin was screened in Almaty cinemas. After that, Musrepov's friends started to call the writer Jean Gabin. The writer liked his new name. Fashionista and dandy, he would change his outfits every day. He even demanded that his trousers were sprayed with cologne when being ironed. Kazakh Jean Gabin loved to hunt, and there were times when he would disappear in the woods with a gun for days. In his works, the writer, who relied a lot on the best experience of Russian and foreign classical literature, was able to reflect significant events related to the revolutionary period, to show changes that were happening in the Kazakh society, to highlight new phenomena in the life and psychology of the Kazakh people. There was an opinion that the author's style resembled Maxim Gorky's manner of writing. Apparently, it was true. In his translations of the works of the classic of the Soviet literature, the writer managed to convey the spirit of these writings through the prism of Kazakh perception. Once Gabit Musrepov wrote, "My stories about mother were written under the influence of Gorky. In my creative practice, I constantly turn to the immortal works of this great writer, learning high ideological and artistic skills from him." It's important to say that the theme of women's fate inspired many Kazakh writers. Mukhtar Awezov turned to it, studying the theme of a difficult women's lot. And there also was Beimbet Maylin, who created a charming image of a woman who decides to start a new life. As for Musrepov's works, their women were shown from a completely different angle. They were strong, courageous, self-confident, passionately loving their people, children, and ready to fight for their own happiness and for the happiness of others. Moreover, his characters are different. All of them make us worry about their hardships. In his works, the writer skillfully paved the way from a romantic perception of life to a more realistic one. Some time will pass. There are going to be many waves, changes, new generations, and only then it will become obvious how great Gabit Musrepov's works are in the national literature, at what unprecedented height they dwell. Literature is the cradle of human spirituality. When you read the classics' works dedicated to the mother figure, a strength and spirit, you're literally being charged with unprecedentedly powerful energy. Among the stories about mother, the Mother of Mothers is especially worth mentioning, a work revealing the whole depth of personality of a real woman, strong, brave, heroic even. And at the same time, it is a romantic character through which the writer glorified the all-conquering power of motherly love. The strength of a woman is in her spirituality. She's not just standing out. The reader sees her superiority over the other people. At the core of this writing, a folk legend, it's about how the power of mother's word and her incredible courage were able to stop Zhigids, who captured a young girl and wanted to take her away. Mother's words touch souls of every single warrior. The short story starts with the old man, Ayteles, who's been through a lot in his life, telling a story. He talks about a brave Batyr, Shalpak, the man who is not devoid of honor and courage, but who, because of his simple-heartedness, often becomes an instrument in the hands of people in power, like the insidious bee Baal, for instance. The image of the Batyr is contrasted with the image of the mother, who rushes to save her daughter. Here we see two strong characters, one of whom is described with a special trepidation and love. A mother whose love for her own child is so limitless and strong that it pushed her for a heroic deed. The story demonstrates the tragedy of the time, which sank into oblivion and left its mark on the history of people, hostile raids, poverty, and injustice. It was a terrible time when a girl could be taken into slavery so easily, and her entire life could be destroyed in a moment. And here, it's not possible not to recall a girl from one of Abai's writings, the girl who chose to die rather than to live in captivity, married to an old man. She threw herself off a cliff, but how fair was it? So Zhalpak Batyr, who was driving the stolen herd, saw a young girl in the steppe, decided to throw her onto the saddle like an animal and take her away. The girl's father chased him, but how can an old man possibly keep up with a Batyr? The mother's power and her strength are immeasurable. She will do anything to save her child, and here we observe the same situation. The mother rushed after her daughter's abductors, demonstrating incredible bravery and heroism, and she was able to stop the enemies only with the power of her words. She told them about her life, that she had spent her whole life in captivity. The story impressed Zhalpak Batyr, and he stopped his fellow men who wanted to captivate the girl's mother too, thinking that she might be useful. Mother's words were so strong that the Batyr woke up. Moreover, the Batyr offered not only to set the captive free, but also to give them a couple of horses from the herd he has stolen, so that the mother and daughter could live separately in the steppe. But the wise woman told him the following: "Don't promise me horses and don't ask me to follow you, because it's only here, in the steppe, you are a free man. But as soon as you return home, you will lose your freedom. You will again become a club, an instrument in the hands of a bee or a bai. We know people like you. They use you as a warrior and me as a slave. That is the only difference. But neither you nor me are free. Isn't that so?" What wise and piercing words she said. The deep meaning they deliver is incredible. We are serene in the steppe up to a certain time. We don't see until our noses are rubbed into things. And then it's as if the veil is opened and we see everything clear. You took the veil off my eyes. I wanted to take your daughter to eternal captivity and make her my toy, but now I won't do it. I have a free will now, and I can grant freedom to the other person. The daughter is yours. Zhalpak realized deep meaning behind the mother's words. They were a reflection of his thoughts and his torments. Real, truthful words always valued high and cost a lot. Even at times of raids and hostility, the truth spoken was of great importance. And that is a special feature of the Kazakh people. Any actions can be stopped not only with a sword, but also with a word. Humanism and benevolence, these are the concepts that make a person humane, lift his spirits. It's only thanks to these qualities that a person remains a human being, capable of understanding and accepting another human being, someone similar to him, able to become better, purer, and kinder. But it's not easy to go through this. This path leads through trials and difficulties, through mistakes and delusions. A person can offend another person, cause him pain and suffering. However, later he will experience the same things himself, as life is a boomerang. In his short story about the wise mother and imprudent Batyr, the author teaches us simple human truth. Gabit is inimitable both as a writer and as a human being. His every single work is a special perception of reality, truthful and deep dissection of a theme, a unique phenomenon in the classical literature. Take any of Musrepov's work and you will see. It takes Kazakh prose to an unprecedented height and level. Gabit Musrepov has always been forestalling the time, has erected an eternal monument to the Kazakh word.
Gabit
Musrepov's works truly are the masterpieces of the Kazakh literature, and he was the one true master of the words. The story about the mother is a vivid evidence of this. When I was reading it, I experienced a whole range of emotions, from anger and perplexity to an enlightenment in a certain way, and my empathy was so strong that even tears came to my eyes. The mother's deed, her wisdom, her endless love, all this inspired me and gave me strength. What a great discovery, the ability to write. And there is no other such discovery as the ability to write. Having discovered writing, mankind has opened its path to the future. Abish Kekilbayev once said, "Writers are the chronicles of mankind in the era. They resurrect the past, record the present, and predict the future. And that is how they fulfill their writer's duty, their mission. It's impossible to read the works of Gabit Musrepov indifferently, as they will certainly awaken the best in the reader, make him think about the history, about the core values of human life. They will give him strength and energy." Musrepov wrote a lot about the female lot and motherhood, but his best work on this theme was The Mother of Mothers, a creation that has proven to be a symbol of the triumph of common sense, spirit, and mind.